Hello everyone, I am that 3D guy, and before starting this video I'd request you to please subscribe to this channel and press the bell notification icon so that you do not miss any future videos. So I made already three parts of this series, and the first three parts were regarding the canvas, setting up the canvas, and then working on the basic surfaces of the iPhone, and then I worked on the camera module. So if you haven't watched those videos, the link is in the description box below. You can just click it down and just play those as well. Before checking this video out, I would recommend you that, because or else you won't be able to build the flow, right? So let's begin the video. And we saw last time where we left. It was somewhere over here, right? It was somewhere over here where we had a part which was somewhere, this part wasn't there, right? It was missing, and the reason is because this has a layer symmetry, right? This has a layer symmetry. So if you see, if this part is cut out, there will be a cutout in this part as well. So how are we going to fix it? So what we can do is, we can just maybe, since we need these objects, just we need to untrim this, right? So there are two options. First we saw about trim, and the next we are talking about untrim. So trim is to cut objects, and untrim is to untrim those objects which have already been cut. So first we'll have to make these into true objects, right? Right now they are just symmetry objects, so you cannot control these, because these are being controlled by this object on the left, right? Because it's on the left hand side of the axis. So to control the left and right hand side of the axis, you need to first split them apart. So you need to remove the layer symmetry, keeping the geometry intact. So what we are going to do is, we are going to go into the layers. Okay, so first we'll select this. We'll go into the model 2 which I had created. Then we'll select the base, pick object, and you see we have the whole object over here. We'll also put this fillet inside that, and we'll see. Okay, you see how it's replicated because of the layer symmetry. Just by adding objects, you can continuously keep them putting inside this layer symmetry to have a symmetry impact on that, right? So what we can do is, we'll select this layer, since we need to remove the layer symmetry of this layer while keeping the geometry intact. So we'll just select this layer, we'll go into layers, there's symmetry option on and off, we know the set plane also, which we saw. Then there's an option named create geometry. If I click on this, see what happens here. So these objects which were earlier dotted have now become true objects. Now I can just select these objects and control them without affecting this object on the left, right? Or without this object controlling this object. So this is how it works. Now if I select this object, it's still going to remain in that, only the layer symmetry of this has been destroyed. But it, on what basis it has been, we have been granted the geometry of this, right? We'll just take this surface, since this is the surface we need to work on, and you see we still have the hole over here. We'll just use a command named untrim. So it's there in where is it? We'll have to see. It's in surface edit. You just hold on trim, and there's one untrim option, right? So I'll just select this one, then I'll click over here. You see? So there's one more thing. While clicking the untrim button, you need to select the edge. You need to just click on the edge, whichever part you want to untrim. Since we had, if I show it to you over here, you see how many trims I have over here. There are a lot of trims. But if you click outside, or you click on the center of the surface, then it will go according to the last untrims you had done. But if you are specifically wanting to just untrim that part, or trim that part, you can just select that edge, right? So that's how it works. So we'll remove all these first. We'll just select these first. We'll trim these first. We'll discard this. We'll discard this. And we'll remove the curves on surfaces. So there's an option named as pick curves on surfaces as well. You'll find that in your marking menu. So pick curves on surfaces. Now the curves on surfaces have been highlighted. I'll just delete these. So we still have the geometry, but we have this part removed completely. So let's see. Yeah, we have everything intact over here. The only thing missing is the fillet at the bottom part, right? Only the fillet at the bottom part. We'll just repair that as well. We'll pick this object. We'll go into edit, duplicate, mirror, and we'll go into the XY axis, and here it is, right? So we have everything right now correctly done. Now I am using the normal tool. So flip normal tool is also one more tool which I will be talking about. So any object in 3D has two normals, right? There's one inside and one outside, right? So you select this. So try to keep all the blue ones outside. So how you are gonna do that? By selecting, just first you'll have to go over here on visual normal. You just click on that and you keep making a bounding box around it, right? So you see how I'm making a bounding box and it's converting itself into blue. So that's what we want. We don't want the normals to be yellow or blue, right? We want it to be one single color. And why do we want to do that? Okay, some rendering softwares usually don't care most of the time when you are working with Rhino. Oh, sorry, when you are working with Keyshot, it doesn't matter because it doesn't work on the normals most of the time. But when you are working with some other automotive software, right? If you are working with maybe if you are working with I think VRED, right? If you are working with VRED or any other software, you'll have to flip those normals. You'll have to check if the normals are correct. Most probably it happens when you are working with maybe real-time rendering softwares, right? Real-time rendering softwares need to keep their flip normals outside. So that's the best thing about it. But we'll talk about all those things in the next coming lessons. But in this one, I think we'll just focus on the camera now, right? So not too much of information right now. We'll just focus on the camera. So I'll go to the root folder. I'll switch on the blueprint and I'll see over here, right? So if I see the reference over here, I can clearly see, okay, so this is something which is like protruding out, right? Maybe some of these renders are not very accurate according to this. Also, we'll keep this in mind that these are two different models, right? These are two different models. This one is the 11 Pro Max and this is the 11 Pro. So I think we'll go with the 11 Pro maybe, or maybe the 11, right? This is the 11 Pro, I guess. So we'll just work on this one, the double one, and we'll refer to this one. So if you see, there are just two cylinders that are protruding out over here, which are the camera lenses, right? Which are the cameras. Then if you see over here, I think this is the flashlight and this is going inside. This is debossing, right? This is debossing. So debossing is going inside. So this part is going inside. And the LiDAR sensor is also going inside. I think this is the LiDAR sensor and it is going inside, right? So this part is coming out and this part is going in. But if you closely see over here, I think this is a completely different part in itself. So it doesn't look like it has a fillet or it has a joining inside. It is a completely different part in itself. So we need to keep all these minute details when we are modeling, because we need to be as precise as possible, right? So let's see how we can achieve that. So we'll go into curve construction, or maybe there's one over here as well. Yeah, so curves. If you go into circles, double click and you get this thing. Maybe I'll keep into periodic circles with 5° 12 spans. I'll go with it. I'll select it and I'll scale it down. Yeah, so something like this. So again, I'm saying that matching the blueprint and everything is a bit like it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we need to keep that in mind. Anyways, these, even if they are like the perfect blueprints, but the resolution is not good, so we need to refer to something, right? We need to refer to something and keep one thing in mind, that your model needs to be, if you're keeping it for rendering purpose, right? Only if you're keeping it for rendering purpose, if it's aesthetically appealing, there are no defects which are visually like which can be spotted, then it's okay, then you can go ahead with it. Obviously when you are working with an engineer, or maybe you want it to be put into some other CAD software like CATIA or maybe SolidWorks or something like that, you need to have proper dimensions and everything, which will already be given. Maybe you'll be specified with the radius, you'll be specified with the caudal length and stuff like that. So for now, we'll just eyeball all these things. we'll just see how close we can get to the real references and the real model, right? So we know that these two are quite similar, right? These two parts are quite similar. We are trying to keep the form factor obviously the same. Like the part where it's going to suit the best, we'll be placing our cameras over there. Yeah. So something like this. If we want, we can just move it like this, maybe. And move this a bit up. Yeah, I think this works. So we have these two circles over here. Or we could have done one more thing, just make one and then duplicate it down, right? That's also one more thing which we could have done. So for now, we'll keep this circle as a reference. Maybe we'll keep it as a reference, work on this one, and then just duplicate it down, right? We can do that as well. So what I'll use is, I'll use the draft tool again. I'll first select this surface and this surface, this curve, and hide unselected. So we just have two things to worry about, which are these, right? I'll draft this in this direction. Maybe keep it very close. Specify the length of it. As you can see, there's a bit of a problem when you're making some things, because it's also very small, right? It's very small. The surfaces are very small. Yeah. Okay. So there is some issue over here, maybe with the draft. Huh? Okay, I don't know why it's not working. Okay, now it's working, right? So we didn't have the UVs over here. If we have something like this, it gives us spans, right? It gives us a lot of spans. Maybe what we can do is, we can select the continuity check. We can see if it's G0. Okay, if it's a curve, so it's not going to show us the curve continuity over here. Maybe we'll select it with the surface once we make it. So we'll just select it for now like this. Maybe we can keep it somewhere around 0.75. I think 0.75 might work. Yeah, this will work. It's very close. It still has a gap. Maybe 0.8 if that works. No, 0.775 or maybe 0.765. Yeah, something like this. This is perfect. This matches perfectly. And we are just gonna have a very small fillet, so it's gonna look like a different part, right? So something like this. And we can even maybe set this draft value to something which is like, maybe we can still keep it as an explicit control, or maybe Bezier surfaces. Now we have something Bezier, right? So it's okay. This thing looks pretty okay. We have quite a lot of segments, but I think that works, because as long as we get the circle correct, it's okay. So we'll just put two planes as in behind and ahead of this. So here, over here in front of this, we'll just put two of the drafts, maybe, or maybe two planes, whatever works, right? So I think I'll just put a plane quickly. So here's you'll find it in surfaces, and there's a plane, right? There's a plane over here, and just place a plane over here. And it's always going to be a 3x3 plane, so we'll make it a 1x1. Move the pivot to this, move it over here, move it over here, move it over here, and something like this. This works. The same thing we are going to do over here is so we have something like this, right? Now we just need to trim these parts. We just need to trim these parts. So we'll just pick object, and I don't know if an intersect is going to work. It's not intersecting it completely, so I'm not hoping for much, but let's see. Yeah, it worked. So we'll just keep this. And that's the thing about trim and project, right? Where to use what. It's just sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. So we have something like this over here. This looks pretty okay. And we are just gonna make two fillets, right? Two small fillets we are gonna make. So let's see how it is. We'll select this one with this. We'll keep it to maybe 0.5. I think 0.5 is gonna be very big. Yeah, it is. 0.1. We'll start from 0.1. Yeah, this one works. It's quite small, but maybe 0.15 should work. Yeah, this looks okay. So we'll keep it at 0.15. We'll also try to match it once we are in the view, right? If we are in the view, we'll just try to match it once again. So we know that are the fillets actually looking like how they are in the picture, right? So we'll see over here. It looks like the fillets are very, very small. And there's also one thing, maybe it looks a bit squished. So maybe this part is very big right now. Yeah, it looks very big. So what we can do is we can just query edit history, undo all. Oops. Yeah. We can just take this object, move it a bit behind over here, somewhere over here, and trim this part again. Yeah, something like this. And then maybe fillet it again, right? Yeah, I think something like this should work. If it's, I don't think this looks still bigger, maybe. Does it? No, I think comparatively it looks okay. Like if I compare these widths, it looks okay. Yeah. So something like this, right? Now what we can do is we can just select all these objects over here. There's one more important thing which I want to show you is how you group into objects, right? So when I made the first lesson about grouping things and what surfaces are and what groups are and stuff like that. So if you might have seen it, you can check that out, or I'll put the link in the description box below as well, so that you can check that out as well, about the differences between all those all the surfaces, groups and stuff like that. So I'll just control H over here. I'll pick object over here. So the only reason I'm not deleting the history right now, because I might have to change it later. So I'm just playing a bit safe over here, right? So, okay, this is my history of the duplicated object, which is okay, which is fine. I hope nothing has been destroyed over here. It's okay. Cool. So I have something like this over here. And now I want to make it into a complete new group, right? So what I'll do is I'll first ungroup everything. I'll ungroup everything. The object which I want to do, I'll ungroup everything. So I'll just, yeah. So I'll just pick object over here, like the whole object using pick object, right? I'll pick object over here and continuously keep pressing Control U. Control U is for ungroup. So I'll just keep pressing Control U. Yeah. So this thing, now if I pick an object, you see how everything is independent. If I go over here and if I click over here, so you see how the whole fillet has been selected, because any new command you apply, right, that comes into one new group or maybe a new object. So here we have just splitted everything apart so that none of these objects are in group, right? They're not in group. Now we'll make one complete group of this. So I'll just pick object, I'll select all these and control G. Construction history on selected objects will be deleted. Okay, I'm okay with that because I have a good one over here. I'll just center pivot over here and we have something like this. Now I pick object and click over here. You see how the whole object is being selected. So this is the whole object that we want, and the pivot of the whole object is going to remain over here no matter what, right? So that's the best thing about it. Now if we want to make some changes, we can make some changes over here, repeat the same process and bring this another one down as well. So it's up to you, it's up to the person who is actually modeling, whichever quicker way they find out. So we have something like this. We'll just switch it on and this looks pretty okay, right? So these were just two cylinders. To be honest, these are just two cylinders. We are trying to match it as closely as possible. When you are modeling it quickly, like maybe in seconds, if you want to create a model in hours, this whole project can be done in maybe an hour or so, right? It can be done in an hour or so. But if you want to do it as precisely like how I am doing, you need to be like, okay, maybe very focused on where each and every part is. And most of them, that is why there are different types of modelers in the industry as well, right? There are sketch modelers, then there are CAS modelers, then there are Class A modelers. So it depends which field you want to go in and how that's gonna work, right? So now we'll work on the flashlight, right? So in the flashlight you can see there are two dips inside. So what we'll do is we'll see how the positive of this is going to be. Or maybe not, or maybe we can just keep skinning it inside until we are satisfied. We can do however we want. Like either you can just trim it out and maybe just trim the surfaces out and maybe try to skin it, or however you want to, like how you feel comfortable doing it and how you will find it achievable, right? So what I'll do is I'll try to probably skin it, like maybe trim it first, then try to skin it into steps, right? That's what I'm planning to do. So let's see how it works. So I have something over here. I'll use this circle for now. I'll just Control C, Control V, move this circle over here, and we are not in the right view. Here. And just scale it down. Right? We'll project this one in view, Control H, and trim. Right? We'll trim this one out. Okay. Now there's one very interesting thing which I want to talk about, and this is about creating surfaces from trimmed objects, right? So it is always like a big no to create surfaces from trim objects, but it's still sometimes okay. Maybe you can, it's debatable, right? It's debatable. Just try not to create something like that if you still feel like doing, because if I show you, maybe you can just project it and trim it properly or something like that. It might be much better, or you can just create something which is going inside and then it works, something like that as well. So I'll show what that means. Now if I draft this, I don't know if it's going to work. So for now it's working, but most of the time it doesn't. Like, okay, for now it's working. If I keep it into Bezier, it's gonna work for sure, but yeah. So for now it's working, but most of the time when you are creating surfaces from trimmed objects, it doesn't work. And okay, maybe there might have been one more thing, is you projected the curve. So what happens is when you project a curve on the surface and you try to trim it, what happens is there are additional spans that are being created on the surface, right? There are additional spans that are being created on the surface. So you can just give it a try how many spans the surfaces are it's creating. Maybe you can untrim it again and find some other approach to make the same object, right? So that's how you approach an alias, is like you have different approaches. Whichever works, whichever the software is able to understand, you use that. But knowing all these things, which what is what and how everything works, is important. So we'll keep something like this. Now there's one option which I learned in draft as well. I don't know if it's going to work, but let's give it a try. So it's something over here, and we'll keep it to radial. We'll keep it to, maybe it's in the z axis, right? So we'll keep it to z, and okay, no, we'll keep it over here. We'll keep the draft angle to 90, and it's radial, right? It's radial. So we just need to make this something like this. Yeah, so this works. So this is some of the tricks which I found out in aliases. Maybe the length needs to be in negative, right? I think it's going to be in negative. -2. Okay, so maybe this, and length is over here. Oops. So just a second. Yeah. So I want to draft all these things inside, right? So what I'm going to do is, hopefully it works. I'm not sure if it's going to work. I saw it somewhere on the net that you can just bring those surfaces down, like do it in radial, right? So that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, cool. So this is what I wanted. So what I have done is, obviously it took me some time to figure out what I was going to do, but I wanted to make something very quickly, and I didn't know which part was what. So it's sometimes tricky to work on this as well. So what I have done is, I use this edge over here. If you can see over here, I use this edge. I created another draft from here, and the drafts were -90. So -90 is like this, but the direction is like this, right? So the direction is like this, and it's turning -90 degrees inside. So all these parts are turning -90 degrees on this side, but this side is being used as a reference point, right? So that's what I had learned previously, which I'm trying to follow it now. And I can do this thing again. It's going to be, maybe if it's 0 degrees, it's going to go on the other side. So you see how quick I am able to make all these things, just because I know these kind of things. And there's one more interesting thing. Now if I just want to make this a bit bigger, right, 0.35, you see how it's not changing the whole thing, it's not affecting the whole thing. I can just keep going as much as I want. I can take this inside, I can keep pull it this outside. So it's not going to affect it a lot, because we already have the history, right? So that's the best thing about aliases, the whole history thing, right? And we are almost there, we just got it, right? So we'll just maybe bring it back to how much ever this was. It was 0.25. We'll keep it to 0.25. Yeah. So this is how interesting I find sometimes to work on aliases, because of this history and stuff like that. If you know how to use this, use draft in different ways, use skin in different ways. So I think for anyone using alias, it's just like how much ever you can think of, you can achieve it. It's like that. We'll draft this thing again. Maybe we could have even created a surface, so that's not a big deal. But yeah, center pivot, non-proportional scale, something over here, and just intersect and trim. Pick object, intersect with this one, yeah, and trim this, keep this, yeah, there we are. Now we need very small fillets over here, so we'll quickly do the filleting as well. And one more thing, I would, while doing this, I would just remind you that you can post me whichever thing I have done. You can just let me know, like in the comments box. If you want, I'll redo that whole thing again, so that's not a big deal. Yeah. Another interesting thing is I can change the history of all these objects now. Even if I want, I can change one single dimension and the whole object is going to change. That's the power of history in Alias, right? Using one single tool in different ways is also like what you think you can just try to achieve something like this. I think this fillet could have been a bit bigger, maybe something like 0.1 or maybe 0.2. Yeah, I think this should work. Something like this might work. And these fillets are so small that even our tolerances are not matching, right? The display tolerances are not matching. So if you see, even if our fillets are pretty good, it is not able to show into that depth, because you see how it's how jagged the lines are. If I turn the display tolerance over here in the diagnostic shading, I just take it to 0.001 over here and keep it to accurate. You see how it got better? So that's how it works. So obviously if the objects are very big, you don't need this much reflection, like you do not need to check it in 0.01 mm. But since it's an iPhone, obviously the parts are going to be smaller. There are chips which are very small, so you're gonna use this, right? So I'll make all these things into 0.1. And that's what I like, is anytime you want, you can just if you have history, you can just play around with it. That's the best thing. You do not need to worry about okay, I have to rebuild again or something like that. And you need to work smart. Maybe decide before how you're gonna work, and then you can just play around with it, right? So we have something like this. We just toggle the model and here we are, right? So we have something like this, which looks pretty good. And the last part is the LiDAR sensor. It is something which is similar, but it has a mesh inside, right? It has a mesh inside. So what we'll do is we'll finish this part today and leave the rest for the next session, right? We'll leave the rest for the next session. So we have something like this. Most probably we'll use the same technique. We'll scale this down. I might not show you how to make a grid first, because I think it's something which is maybe we can do it like in the next session, because I'll be explaining a lot of things about new tools, right? So we already have used a couple of tools today, so maybe in the next session I'll be able to show you those tools, how you can make the mesh and stuff like that. So I'll just trim this again, I'll discard this, and this is a much smaller circle, so we'll need to go into smaller values again. We'll just draft this again over here, somewhere over here. We'll keep this as Bezier. One more thing is, as I said in my first video, I don't like to work with spans a lot. I like to keep things as clean as possible. So that's also one thing that I keep in mind, is not playing with maybe I would say spans a lot, right? I don't like to play with spans a lot. I like to keep things simple. One more thing you might have noticed, that all the objects, all the edges are getting selected simultaneously. That's because I have chain select enabled. So if your edges are directly tangential to each other, then they'll select automatically. If you don't want it, if I just unselect this, you see how it's selecting in differently. So we want to select it all together. So we'll just go into the draft tool again. We'll chain select it and we'll do something like this, right? Obviously we want it in this direction, so we'll make it 0 again and use the same technique of making a surface inside. But this surface is going to be, I think these things are going to be a bit smaller. It's not going to be 0. It's going to be 0.1 maybe. This thing is going to be 0.1 as well, because this is a smaller one, right? So I think we'll keep it a bit smaller. Yeah, something like this. And we'll also maybe make a surface just in case. So as I said, usually it doesn't take a lot of time depending on how detailed you want to make the model. So I'll just tell you one thing. When I was working on a long project with my friends, and they wanted something. So when you are working on some concepts, right? When you are working on some concepts, you do not need to have something which is very maybe detailed, or something which is like very precise, right? So you start working on something uh, maybe very quickly. You can use spans, then you can maybe start using maybe quick methods, right? So it's not only about knowing how to do one thing, but also being efficient wherever possible, right? Now you'll just fillet these edges as well. You'll just fillet these edges as well. Yeah, 0.05, which is pretty big, but it works. As you can see, it's getting quite jagged over here because the display tolerances are not good enough. But if I turn on the locators, it's gonna show me that everything is in continuity. And I'm pretty sure about that because these are simple surfaces. There's not a lot of maybe working that needs to be done. So I know that it's not going to fail. So something like this. Right? Yeah. So now we have gotten something much more detailed, what we want to. We have even achieved this thing, which looks pretty good. You see how detailed it can go up to, right? So as much as possible, you go into the details. It's going to go, it's going to get better and better, right? Now we are in the next phase. We are gonna check how we are going to just make an outside of this part, maybe a glass panel outside this. We'll keep the thickness of the glass as well intact. We are also going to give it details in the front. We'll have to work on the small mesh over here as well. Then we'll also have to focus on the Apple logo, which is like the signature of any Apple product, right? We'll have to make that as well. And I think maybe in the next or maybe next to next session we'll be done. And I think, what is the date today? I think it's, yeah, it's 28th, and I think we'll be done in maybe a couple of days more, right? So I am recording it on 28th. I think it's gonna come on 29th. So yeah, we have 30th and 31st. So within 6 sessions we'll be done with the whole model, right? And it looks pretty interesting. So I'm happy about that as well. Yeah, it's matching everything precisely, which I'm happy about. So thank you guys, and have a nice day. And I hope you'll be able to follow this. If you have any doubts or any queries, you can write them in the comment box below. The email, or maybe mail me at that3dguy23@gmail.com, and I'll be very happy to cater all those doubts. Right? So see you. Bye bye.